When we talk about moving abroad, we need to talk about money. We need to talk about how people afford to move and live abroad. So in today's video, I'm going to share some of the different ways that most people use to make their move abroad possible. This is based on what I've seen online and also what we are doing ourselves. I have a list of about 20 ways to make this happen, but they're all going to be gathered under 6 different umbrellas. So 6 different categories of ways to afford to live abroad. So let's look at each of these categories. Number 1 is what's usually seen as the teaching umbrella. This is where you would have people teaching English online on platforms like Cambly or VIP Kids. This is a very popular way for you to be able to make some money in order to afford your life abroad. Now, the caveat is that in many of these platforms, the paycheck that you're getting is not a lot. So you're going to have to either rely on a secondary source of income or having to go to a country where the cost of living is a lot lower. Okay, so teaching English online is one of the ways. Still in the teaching umbrella, this is where you're going to go teach abroad at an international school. You can teach math, you can teach PE, you can teach dance, you can teach any class, any subject that you are usually certified in. So if you are a certified teacher here in the US or I guess anywhere in the world, you can use that certification to teach abroad in an international school. There are different levels to teaching at international schools. There are schools that will allow you to teach with a TEFL certification, so TEFL, yes, where you would teach English to kids who don't speak English, right? And it's usually in a country that is not English speaking. These will not necessarily require you to have a master's degree or even a bachelor's degree. But at international schools, usually you will be required to have a bachelor's degree, not always, but most of the cases, as well as a certification in that subject that you're going to teach, okay? And it can be, again, other than English. It could be anything. It could be arts, physics, could be anything that you are specialized in, okay? Now, there's also a difference in the type of packages that you're going to get. When you are certified in TEFL to teach English, and usually those jobs might give you a good pay and all of that, but the best packages are with international schools because most of the cases they're going to cover tuition for your kids, they're going to give you housing, they're going to give you a plane ticket to come back home every year, they're going to give you some stipend for sometimes it's electricity or water or internet at your home. So it's a very comprehensive package. This is like top of the top, right? If you want to stay in the teaching industry, you will target these jobs. There are fewer of those jobs, however, they are available. I would highly recommend you reach out to Jocelyn from Minerves on the Move. She's on YouTube. Her family has lived in Honduras and now they are in Ethiopia, where her husband and her are educators. Okay, so they have a lot of great resources when it comes to teaching at an international school and making that move with a family with small kids. Okay, so definitely reach out to Jocelyn. So teaching English online, working at an international school. You can also teach at a university level. This is where I would lean towards. I was a college professor, and I personally, I'm not going to say that I'm not interested, but my preference would be to teach at a college level versus a high school or primary school level. Okay, that's just my personal preference. So if you are like that, if you want to teach college, there are some opportunities as well. So you have to look into those. If you are specifically in academia, you can look into the Chronicle of Higher Education. This is usually where all the jobs in academia are posted, or at least it still was 10, 15 years ago when I was still in academia. So the Chronicles of Higher Education, that's where you would look for admin as well as teaching. So teaching/research jobs in academia if you want to teach at that level. Now, another option when it comes to teaching, if you are already in academia And that's an option that I looked into before I left academia. It was the Fulbright program, where you would teach or do research abroad in partnership with a university abroad and spend a year abroad, okay? And then you would come back to your university to continue your work. But at least it gives you a year away if that's something that you want to do, instead of taking a full gap year of doing research, okay? So that could be a way for you to be abroad and still do the work that you love to do. Okay, so the Fulbright program, again, it has to be a partnership between your university and the university or the organization that you want to work with abroad. Okay, so those are some of the options that you have under the teaching umbrella. Second umbrella is going to be the work umbrella, and this is where you would either look for a new remote job, or you would keep your current job and work at a new location. Maybe they have a branch at a new location abroad, or you would turn that current job into a remote job. So you would work remotely, basically, right? If they allow you to do that outside of the US, that's great. That will be a great way for you to just keep the same job, same salary and everything, but you're just working from somewhere else. So that, I would say, would be the best option of all when it comes to moving abroad, because you still have the same, you're still working with the same team, same everything, same salary, and now you just get to do it from somewhere else. So that's pretty good. All right, so that's under the work umbrella. Same thing, a little different in terms of work. Another option that a lot of, I would say probably younger people do, like college students, is work exchange. So you would work, let's say, at a farm abroad in exchange for housing and transportation and things like that. Like room and board is taken care of because you live with a family and you take care of their farm. Or maybe you can do what is it called? Au pair. So au pair is basically a nanny for a family abroad. So a lot of au pairs would help. Like if you're an English speaking au pair working with a family in France, for example, you would speak to the children in English. So you will teach them English, and in exchange, you'll get a stipend, you get room and board and all of that. So that's another great way for you to be abroad. Okay, so work, those are different ways. And also for students can also do be a Fulbright program. I remember my roommate during my master's degree, she did a Fulbright program as a student. So that was a cool way for her to be able to come to the US and stay for, I think it was a year or something like that. But again, for the Fulbright, it has to be in partnership. You need to have like a home base, like an organization, a school, in partnership with another university or organization. Okay, so it's not just like I just get up and I just want to go work at that university. That would be different from Fulbright. Okay, so that would be another way to do it. Under that as well, I put under work, even though it's not really work, I included study abroad. Again, if you're a college student, you can take a semester or year or even the whole 4 year degree. You can do that abroad if you want to do that, again, in partnership with your home university, with another university abroad. Okay? So that will be an easy way for you to be abroad for a limited number of years or months and then come back. Okay, so that was category number 2, which was work. First one was teaching. Second is work. The third one is good if you are ready for it. This is good if you have limited time. So if you say, okay, I want to be away for a gap here and then I'm okay coming back, you can rely on your savings. That's the third category, is savings. You can sell a lot of the things that you have. Maybe you're selling your house. Maybe you're selling your cars. Maybe you're selling furniture from your house. Maybe you're selling everything that's in your garage, right? You're selling the things that you have, and that will give you a pool of money enough for you to, let's say, backpack around Europe for a year or backpack around Asia for a year. Whatever you can afford with the amount of money that you have saved, that's what you're going to do. Once the money runs out, you're coming back home. Okay, so again, very limited time because you're not counting on money coming in, any kind of income. You're just counting on your savings. So if you're okay with having a limited time abroad, that could be a good option for you. Okay, so you can downsize, you can sublet your apartment, you can do a lot of things in order for you to get that pool of money right now before you leave. Okay, so savings, pretty simple. Again, if you want to take a gap year, that is an option. The fourth category is everything investments. So this is a more passive way. So that could be real estate, that could be dividend, that could be pensions, anything that is coming to you without you having to do any kind of extra work. Even though specifically when it comes to real estate, there's still some work involved because it's not like you set it and forget it because, things happen. But we're going to put it in the investment slash passive income category. Okay. So that's number 4, investments. Number 5 is side hustle slash online business. This is my favorite category because this is where I am mostly in, even though I'm touching on other categories as well, just like you can. You don't have to just rely on one. However, start with one and then add more categories if you want. But when it comes to a side hustle or an online business, whether it's again a side hustle, so just like a secondary source of income or your main source of income, you have things like being a virtual assistant, freelancing, social media management. You can sell digital products, you can do coaching, you can do VIP days, you can rely on affiliate marketing, you can have a YouTube channel, different ways for you to make money online by selling your skills, by offering your skills as a service provider. You can package them in different ways. You can do something for clients. That's what a freelancer would do, like you're doing it for them. You can do it with your clients, for example. That would be something that a coach would do. So you're walking them through a process of getting a solution. Or you can teach them how to do it and they do it on their own. That could be through your YouTube channel, that could be through digital products, different ways for you to set up your business slash side hustle in order for you to make money, and that would allow you to sustain your lifestyle abroad. Okay, so that's my favorite category. So if you have questions specifically about this category, how to make money online and all of that, just post them in the comment and I'll come back and I can create more content about that. I specifically talk more about that in my other channel where it's more about funding your move abroad. So talking about how to set up your online business, how to figure out what to sell, where to find clients, the type of services that you can sell, how to price your offers. I cover all of that specifically in my Fund Your Move YouTube channel. So you can find a link to the channel in the description of this video as well. So that's the 5th category. And the last one, just for fun, this is the category that might not apply to a lot of people, but it could still apply to you. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that I mention it because it could apply to you. And this is the category where you basically do nothing. You can move abroad by doing nothing. This would be the scenario where you will have your spouse or a family member who is in charge of the funding. For example, your husband got a job abroad, a teaching job abroad. Okay, you are the accompanying spouse, you are the dependent, and you can live comfortably on one income. So if that's your situation and you're okay with it, you don't have to stress about getting a side hustle or getting another job, or just go with the flow. Okay, you're fine. Again, maybe that's not your situation, but you'll be surprised by the number of people who are actually in that situation. So you don't have to stress about how you are going to make money as well. You just rely on the fact that one spouse is going to solidify the source of income. And then once you're there, maybe you can start something, but you don't need to get something started right now before you make the move possible. Okay, so if this is you, I'm excited for you because you can just make the move. Why not? So you can see how you can make your move abroad possible and have different ways to sustain your lifestyle abroad, whether it's by using your savings, investments, getting a job, or starting an online business, there are different ways to make it possible. And most people online use some of these ways, either one of them or combining a few of them. So there's no one size fit all. And that's something that I always have to remind myself when I watch people on YouTube sharing their journey. Some people will claim that they just left the country with $1,000 and they're making it, but they're not sharing the fact that family members are sending them money every month, or that they have a pension from the VA, or that they have insurance money, or that they have a spouse that works and so they themselves don't have to make money or that much money, right? So there are different ways to make it happen. You just have to find the one that works best for you. Okay, so out of all of these, which one is the route that you are choosing? Is it one of them, or are you combining several of them? Just let me know in the comments. And after you do that, make sure you watch this next video right here. Till next time, bye.